Hi, I'm Thomas Bottoms, and this is The Offensive Line. I am a Chicago-based stand-up comedian, and I'm hosting the show because I'm banging the director. To my right, we have the incomparable Murphy Rowe. Murphy, introduce yourself.
I'm Murphy Rowe, and I'm very comparable.
Next to Murphy Rowe, we have Frank Roscoe. Frank, introduce yourself.
My name is Frank, and I was paid to be here large amounts of money.
We also have returning guest Natalie Nimarala. Natalie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Natalie Nimarella, and I am also a Chicago-based stand-up comedian.
And next to Natalie, we have Johnny Cuevas.
Hi everybody, I'm Johnny Cuevas. I'm a Chicago-based comedian, and you know, your resident vagabond.
All right. And today's topic, we are talking about dating mores. Are there any social rules or loving things to dating? What are the rules to dating? Now, what is the status of everybody? Are you single? Are you dating? Are you committed, married, divorced?
I'm single.
Johnny, you're single. How long have you been single?
I've actually been single for over a year now.
Over a year. And Natalie?
I am dating someone. Exclusively, but it's, you know, still relatively new, so we'll see.
I'm in a long-term relationship. I've been in a relationship for 3 years.
Awesome.
Yes, I don't want to get gay married though, because I look like I've been gay divorced 3 times. And Frank, what is your status?
I'm in a relationship myself. I'm a poly person. I tend to bounce around quite a bit.
No pun intended.
Yeah, so I'm both, I guess, and neither. So I guess that's my new description.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
that.
We'll get back to that one.
Sure.
And Murphy.
I am in a committed relationship. My girlfriend and I live together, and I'm very confused at how to deal with how happy that makes me. I'm not used to being happy. And
Don't you just want to reach over, like, pinch his cheeks?
I don't know, I feel like he was stifling a wink, like, I don't know.
I've met his girlfriend.
She's only going to watch the first, like, minute of this video, so I say that, and then she's going to be like, oh, that's great, and then moves on to something else, and then...
Yeah.
And then phone call.
The rest, and then we can talk for
She's
real.
only gonna lie about watching it.
Yeah.
Now, was that in the first minute of the video? Are we okay?
I don't know. I may
All
have even wasted that. Yeah, no. My girlfriend's stupid and I hate her like all that. Because women are the worst, right? So.
The worst!
So what are the rules to straight dating? How do you meet people in today's age? Is it in the bars?
I have no idea how people meet other people. I am from a group of people who, it's normal guys who are terrified to talk to women. Like, I'm in that group of guys who are like women are like, you can't meet any nice guys. And it's like, yeah, they're the ones who are too afraid to talk to you at the bar. You have to approach them. So I've dated basically every woman that's ever talked to me at a bar for like at least a year, and that's like, so I don't know how people, like, I don't know how normal human beings talk and interact with each other, but I met my girlfriend at a bar, and
she came up to you.
She came up and talked to me.
So she's breaking the social standards, because it's usually supposed to be the guy supposed to talk to the woman.
That's
and then if the guy talks to the woman doesn't like him, or she's not, like, there's always the depiction like women have these crazy high standards, and then the guy's instantly shot down where they won't give them the chance. Now, mind you, I'm gay, so my idea of women is like flavor of love.
That's very much that's very much dead on, and that led to my philosophy of not ever talking to women.
Smart man.
Yeah,
Smart man,
so you minimize. I'm a risk manager. You minimize the risk, and then hopefully.
But I think that's interesting, because I think, the women would like to think that, like, I bet he really wanted to talk to me and he just didn't. But then we have the, like, he's just not that into you philosophy, which is like, if a man wants you, like, he's gonna come talk to you and get you. Like, if he really wants to talk to you, he's gonna do it.
I think that's part of the dynamic that maybe shouldn't be there, because sometimes somebody might really be so into you, but they're just terrified. And
This was from experience. Okay? From experience. I go to this place, right?
What kind of place is this, Johnny, that you go to wear women down?
It was the Aragon. I went to go see a show at the Aragon, and it was this, like, I was young. I must have been like 17 or 18 at the time. I see this woman. She's beautiful all night long. Just everybody saying, you know, coming up, trying to talk to her.
Like she's beautiful doing what?
Dancing by herself.
Oh,
you
dancing
know,
on her own.
Basically.
Red
So
flag.
all night long, I just keep approaching her. I'm like, oh, hi. She's like, oh, no, thanks. I'm waiting for somebody. I, you know, walk around the place, and I'm just like, man, I just can't stop looking at this woman. So I go back. She's like, no, sorry, they just called me. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. You know, I asked her to dance again. She said no.
So she's dancing by herself and won't dance with you.
Yeah.
And you don't have the dance moves to make her want to dance with you.
So, anyways,
Who's calling
the
her?
fourth
Is it
time,
moves
the
that
fourth
makes
time,
them
the
move?
fourth time I ask her, I'm just like, you know what? Whoever you're waiting for obviously isn't coming or is having difficulties. Why not just have fun with me right now and go and dance?
Yeah.
She finally just didn't say anything, grabbed my hand and walked me to the dance floor.
Oh,
And then when we
she
got
walks
to
you to the dance.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then when we got to the dance floor, I was like, oh, by the way, I don't dance. But it didn't matter by then, because I wore her down. And then, oh yeah, I wasn't waiting for anybody. That's just my standard line for people.
Don't have to tell us that. But it's interesting, like, you instantly were like, she's 25 with a kid, dude. Just keep walking. Just keep walking.
No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. I mean, whatever. Kids are no kids. I mean, kids are cool as long as they don't belong to me. And if you're a mom with a kid, I don't care. I'll still fuck you, probably.
But I don't want. But you don't want to date them
No,
necessarily.
absolutely not.
Now, Johnny, you mentioned
I feel
the
the
whole
same
wear you down. So the woman got worn down to dance with you and eventually date you.
Well, I mean, I
Now, is that something? Now, this is you as a male pursuing a woman.
Yes.
Does that happen in reverse, or has a woman ever pursued you guys to wear you down? Because I know I've been pursued until it's like, all right, I'll give you a Hummer in your car. I just want to go home. I don't know if Natalie's ever been pursued like that, but have.
Oh yes, actually, to be perfectly honest
You
with
always
you, and
will.
we're gonna get raunchy, and we're gonna just
Bring
talk
it
about
on. Let's get
All right.
raunchy.
I'm a friendly person, you know. I like to talk to everybody, and you know,
News to
You
me.
are gonna need to talk to the kid.
Yeah, don't
I'm
forget to
sorry.
talk to the
I'm
camera.
sorry.
Johnny, remember project.
I'm a friendly person.
Project.
I like to talk to people, and when I go to bars, I like to drink. You know, I'm not there to fucking not drink. The fuck. I can go other places to not drink. You know what I mean? So when I go
to a
to
library.
We're
So
not
when I
drinking
go to-
here. Cheers.
So when I go to thank you. So when I go to a bar, you know, if you're gonna fucking do something, do
Fuck
it
you,
right.
Frank.
And I drink.
I'll
And I'm friendly.
Oh.
So it happens a lot where my friends are like, "Oh man, you know that girl that you were friends with, she just, you know, that really ugly girl that you were talking to, the one that kept buying you the free shots. She tried to take you home last night." And
Wait, the girl kept buying you shots, was
And-
offering it all up, and
free
you
shots,
went home
free shots,
alone?
free shots, and then was like, "Hey, do you want to come to my house and smoke some weed?" And I'm like, "Can I invite my friends?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds like a fun time."
Yeah.
Oh no, and I'm like, "Oh, well, this is the suburbs, and I didn't drive here." So no.
So Johnny, you were oblivious that she
Yeah,
was flirting with you.
I forgot.
Now, is anyone else here? I'm very, very
No,
oblivious.
that has happened to me also because I always.
We're self-hating comedians, right? We're
That's
self-hating
true.
comedians.
We are self-hating.
Murphy
Really
and
might be
I
part of
had
it.
this beautiful conversation about it the other day where, you know, what were we talking about? This very issue?
I
Come
have no
on,
idea.
Murphy, bring it out.
Come on, Murphy!
Well, about how difficult it is to get someone to love you when you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You feel like you're tricking people. Anytime I'm talking to a woman, I feel like I'm trying to trick her into buying a product she doesn't need at all. Like, it's just a terrible option for her. And
Infomercial stuff.
like a used car salesman. I'm trying to sell her undercoating on a car, and it's like if you come home with me, you're gonna have a great time, maybe. Or like, as long as you get the insurance on it, like. It's not fun when you don't have, like, there are plenty of men who are good men who don't have self-confidence, and those are the ones who don't.
So Johnny, you feel you sell yourself very well. Well, Murphy doesn't feel he sells himself, and they always come to him to buy.
Oh man, you ever seen the guy when you're like, man, how did this guy get hurt? That's me and shit. That's been me. Not now.
So we can expect not right now though. You don't
Not
have
right
her
now.
lined up.
No.
So.
It's actually kind of funny because somebody asked me recently if I was married, and my answer was kind of.
Right.
Kinda.
Because I'm married to comedy.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that groaning
This is
note,
why he's single.
Even though the bitch keeps cheating on me, you know what I'm saying?
But see, I do like the opposite. Like I get like really into a guy and like lose 3 months of comedy because I'm like, oh my god, we're having so much fun. Like
I'm
I get
that
like
personal
every
life
year,
trumps comedy for
every
now.
single year I lose like 3 months over some dude that I met, and then I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that?
And it is, and when you're a comedian,
You want to spend time with them, and you can't. I mean, comedy's every night, all the time, all weekend.
It is.
Yeah.
And for comedians,
it is.
happiness only comes in little bunches, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
5 minutes at a time.
I don't hate
someone
myself
finds
so
me
much
attractive.
today.
They
Yeah.
like me. They really, really like me.
Well, there's this misconception for men. I think I know people that believe men they want to be funny to attract. Like maybe I might not be the fucking coolest looking dude in the world, but maybe if I'm funny,
Oh,
I'll
No,
attract
you
them.
are.
That's
You
not-
are. You're the coolest
Yeah.
looking dude.
Well, anybody who does comedy, the people think like, oh, you're trying to be funny just to get attention from girls. It's like I don't ever think that's the case. I think when I do the comedy thing, I don't want anyone that I actually want to have sex with to see it. I feel like this is not every woman you ask. I feel like there's. The women I might be attracted to just don't. They'll say, "Oh, I like a man that makes me laugh." That's what every woman will say. But I don't think that's the case with people.
Well, you know
They-
why? Because I'll tell you why. Because when you're on stand-up, when you're a stand-up and you're on stage, part of the thing that makes us is that we're able to fucking be totally honest to
Yeah.
a fucking group of strangers.
Yeah, but there's
Which
so
people
much.
you're
Right.
dating don't want to see.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
They don't.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
fuck,
No way.
give me
Yeah.
like 6 months. But you know what I'm saying? It's like this fucking. It's like I don't want to tell you everybody I slept with on my first day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm the exact. I'm similar but opposite in that when I'm on stage, I have no filter and I can talk completely honestly about me. But I want the people I sleep with to see my stand-up because that's the only time I can be honest about who I am because I'm making people laugh.
Because you have that barrier.
and then it's
Because
like,
you put on masks.
no, and then I'm like, so you still want to sleep with me? And they're like, yeah, like, and you saw my stand-up, and like, yeah, and you paid attention to the words I was saying and the sentences they made, and like
That's a
you
big
comprehended
plus,
what
yeah.
all those sentences meant, and they're like, yeah, and I still find you attractive. I'm like, oh my god, what the?
Nice,
okay,
winner.
That's the.
As a jazz man,
Yeah,
how
as a
do you
jazz
feel
man.
about this rhythm and beat?
This guy be throwing down.
I only have sex with
No, what
women
is the view
that have
about
Louis
pubic
Armstrong's
hair
voice.
and dating and how to be appropriate when you go out?
Well, see, actually, it's funny because the conversation we were having, we were referring to facial pubic hair. But I like the direction. I like.
Now
how
we've
it
got
transitions.
we got the 2010s ball that started in the O's.
Yes.
We've got the 90s trim. We've got the 80s, not as trim as 90s trim, but still fairly trim. And then we've got full-on 70s bush.
Yeah.
Overgrown, bushy, and wild.
I actually hate this, but it's by request. I don't want it at all. So just so you guys know.
But is that a thing now that if you are going out and pursuing, do you have to manscape or womanscape as it is to
Yes.
be presentable?
Absolutely.
Now, no, okay, so if you pull out 70s bush now, you sitting at home.
See, I went to college in the 90s, and we sort of only just trimmed enough to, like, get into a bikini. So I was
Right.
walking around in, like, overalls and flannel shirts with basically a full bush. But getting laid constantly,
Hell
so that
yeah.
was college.
Nice.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
But, no, yeah, I mean, I think it did kind of start with the whole Sex in the City, movement. And the Brazilian, I think the Brazilian's kind of out. But I think you've got to keep it trim. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to
Landing
pull
strip
down your
Hitler.
pants and see, a gremlin, a
Nope.
Furby
They can't get wet.
after midnight.
No food kernels is what you're saying.
Now,
Now, gentlemen, how do you feel about this?
Well, I was gonna flip it on you. What's the trend in the gay community?
It depends on which group you actually go with.
Yeah.
Like if you're with twinks, it's one of those I'm shaving myself even more, so I'm 23 and I can still look 12.
Right.
And then you get into the bears where everything is like so overgrown and you gotta chop through it. And sometimes, I won't lie, I give head so I can feel like I have some hair on my head, that I feel I am young again. And then you've got your Leathermen that depends how severe leather they are. Sometimes they're trimmed, sometimes they're bald. It depends on how greasy and shiny they feel they have to be that day. And then it's the A-gays where we just follow the straights of what's Paris doing this season? Oh, it's the landing strip. Oh, it's the Hitler.
Oh, that's easier. And I never know where to go with it. I just keep it somewhere in the middle. For me, though, it's always been like...
Mine's a Hitler mustache.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, see, you have to find a middle ground. I've always been more tolerant.
Now,
It. I mean, with like, I feel like however attractive the person is that I'm about to hook up with, the less I care about their pubic hair.
The more risks they can take as a pubic artist.
Well, see, I have
true.
I have a thought on
absolutely
this
true.
because I'm like, okay, I honestly feel like your situation down here should mirror your situation up here.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Okay.
you're bald on top, you got some hair on the bottom.
I'm talking about. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
straight lines
You got
means
that.
he's cares.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So obviously, elsewhere is similarly.
Specifically for men.
You want synergy
Yes!
throughout the entire body. You want.
It's all about fucking me.
So you want your bearded women? to
Yeah,
have-
what woman has hair on her face?
Oh,
Like, what are you talking about?
Hey man.
Are you pursuing
Well, I thought-
circuses?
I said
Hey, all I gotta
this
say,
off air,
Greek and Italian women are so sexy.
Oh!
They are.
They are, and they got a little
sexy
something
women.
going on
They-
downstairs too.
Hey,
I'm
and
right
you know
here,
what?
guys. I'm right here.
Yeah, but you have serious things, so.
No.
But now you
So we're
pointed out.
trying to be respectful. Obviously,
Exactly.
now.
There's pornography playing. Do you honestly know how many, references I've just eaten?
Oh, on my behalf?
No.
No,
Please don't be polite in front of me.
no, not on your back, but not
But-
only.
I mean, you
No,
can't
no.
say whatever you want on the internet. Like, you gotta censor yourself
Very
a little
true.
bit.
Oh yeah, I'm already embarrassed. My parents are going to see this. Anyway, now Frank, you brought up a very important thing that if I am genuinely interested in this person, then what they have going on
Yeah, I
is
think-
more
I
important.
think so.
And and it's true. I think like
Well, you know, I
if it's
think for
one
me
night
it's less
stands, I
important.
need to get a rocks off. It's like if you're fulfilling my fantasy, you're good.
Right.
Well, if it's, hey, I want to connect with you on a relationship level, it doesn't really matter. And it also, like, in the internet age, like where people are sending out dick pics and boob pics, and I don't know if vag
Don't
pic
point at
is
me
a
if you say
thing.
boob.
Oh, it's called twat shot.
I think
Twat shot?
Has made it up. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Tell me I need to.
Do you have a twat shot? It's-
Oh, no.
But like when I've gone out and gone dating and I've taken a guy home, except for two circumstances, it's always been like, yay, penis! Now, with all our culture throwing flesh at us and internet porn available on our phones and everything, do you ever, as guys, take off a woman's bra and go, oh, she ain't got good tits? Like, or is it just like, yay, booby? And Natalie, how have you felt about the penises in your life?
Oh, I mean, some have been great, but there have been some disasters.
Disasters.
He meant well.
In which
he
way?
meant well.
In which way?
No, back to you.
Strictly
Like
size,
boys.
or is it sometimes visual?
Yeah, no. It's not strictly a size thing, and I'm not like a size queen by any means. I don't want to work that hard on like a full-time basis. Like I don't have time for your 10-inch cock. Like oh my god. Like I want to sleep sometimes too. Like, I would say anywhere from like 6 to 8 is totally great. Like 5.5 to 7. Like well, you can lie about it, like you do your height. Like take 1 inch off. Like it's okay. It's more about what you do with it. It really is. But there is a tipping point where.
It's not the size of the ship, it's the motion of the ocean,
Yeah.
but your
Unless-
little canoe
It's
can't
what you
fit
do,
Unless
in
you
my
which is
wear
voice.
masturbate all
Yeah,
the time.
Unless it's
So-
nothing. Unless it's like a little squirrely pig's tail. Then,
Yeah.
You know.
I actually read. You know what the crazy thing is? I just read an article where doctors actually ask parents. Like it's one of the options if their penis is so small that it's unfunctional that you get gender reassignment surgery
Oh no.
Really?
As a
Yeah.
baby.
as a baby.
Now,
Like
as
Jamie Lee
men,
Curtis.
do you feel...
They missed me. I slipped through the cracks.
Is that why you got the beard? You know,
I gotta
you're
compensate for something.
Oh yeah, I always say I'm hung
It's
like
like
a
if
field
I
mouse with a
shaved
thing
it,
for
it
Thai
would
boys.
look
It's-
huge.
I don't know.
Now, men, has this become something as time's gone on? Do you feel like, do you measure up? Is that an issue for you when you meet a woman? Because there is, for women, a lot in our culture of what the beautiful body is, who you need to be, and that's why I love Natalie, because Natalie's just fabulous, and she's
Natalie's
sexy, and she's gorgeous,
sexy.
and she's not a size 00, and she owns it.
Yeah.
Because a size 00 would maybe be one breast.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, as men, do you worry about size? Do you worry if you measure up? Does pleasing a woman matter to you? Is it a hole? How is
Well, that's a
it?
good question.
Oh my goodness. Pleasing a woman matters more to me than anything. And
Yeah.
it's mostly because it's so difficult for me. And it's such an elusive thing that, like I have, we don't need to get into details, but I have all sorts of deficits when it comes to sexuality. Like, there's all sorts of ground I need to make up. And, you know, it's like...
We're self-hating.
It's like playing a sport. You know, if you don't have a good fastball, you learn a good curveball. You know,
Right,
it's
yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
I know what I'm really not good at,
Which is.
and I've
no.
gotten vaginal sex. And I've
You're
got.
not good at the main thing.
Yeah, I'm not good at the main thing,
Okay,
but
great.
I've got a bunch of. I can throw a knuckleball, I can throw a curveball, I throw a screwball. You know,
It's
I got
great
a bunch
hors
of jump
d'oeuvres and
pitches,
dessert,
you know.
but the
I'm
main course was a little bit
Yeah,
lacking.
I'm not Randy Johnson. I'm more like, you know, Rick Reed. I don't know,
There you go.
jump ball.
Well, see, I have to be perfectly honest, and because, you know, of the sake of honesty and raunchiness, this is the only time I am ever happy to be short. And the reason why is because of the. Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
You know, and that's why I hate short guys like you, because 6 inches on your frame looks impressive,
Yeah, it's misleading.
while on my frame of 6'2",
I am a
it
little
ain't
bit.
much.
I gotta say, I am a little bit like Randy Johnson. I have murdered pigeons on
Yes,
my
sir.
way into a
Yes,
woman's
sir.
vagina with
Yeah.
my penis.
Ow!
It's a really strong reference. I'm really glad we got that on tape. That's fantastic.
It's happened.
But see,
I'm pretty
I,
sure that just happened on the 70s porn right behind the
Yeah,
camera.
that's what. That's
there
right.
was a lot of dialogue in this porn, by the way. There hasn't been a boobie in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus, they're
Which is why
lesbians.
we're actually kind of serious
Yeah,
all of a
we've
sudden.
got
No.
weird.
We've got more blood.
Well, what's
But
happening
you
is
point
there's
out,
courtship.
Murphy, you pointed out a skill that I always say, like, I grew up with a guy who, his nickname was Tripod. Like, I swear to God, my teenage years were spent in the shadow of his monolith penis with all the other gays worshiping it. And then the other friend was built like fucking Marky Mark Wahlberg. Like, people would do their laundry on his abs. And then you have me.
Yeah, and you're banging the director?
Yeah, I'm making the director. That's why I'm
Really
here.
comfortable relationship.
This is why I have ugly friends.
But oddly enough, it's one of those things like I've worked on to have a personality, and when it came to certain skills, I made sure I had those.
Right.
And there was like always the local like slut, and he slept with both of them, but he only like made out with me. And he was like, Thomas, you really know how to kiss. It's like, you know how to pay attention to the partner. You realize there's another human being there. You don't stick to the, like, some gays are so bad at kissing. It's like, open the mouth, stick out the tongue. It's like,
Oh, that's anyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some people-
It's like the velociraptor of sex. It's like, get away from me.
Have you ever slapped
No.
somebody mid-kiss and like, not like that?
I have given
Yeah,
Have you ever
instructions.
done that? Have you ever guys? No? Okay.
No,
never
but I
mind.
broke
I'll
up
shut
with a
up
guy.
then.
I broke up with a guy because 4 months into us dating, I realized he was kissing all the time with his eyes open.
Oh no! It's awful.
I do
That's
that.
the
I do
worst.
that, but only when
Don't do that
Like
anymore.
60%
No, I
of
do
guys
that,
do that.
but
Let's
that's
get into
only
this.
that's only
Let's
if
get
I'm
into
in
this.
public. No, that's only because if I'm in public and I'm like, oh, I'm kissing this person I'm really into. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they're just. Whoa.
Is there somebody-
All right, I'm
Yeah.
good.
No.
I'm good.
I only room with
Yeah,
my
I'm
eyes
good.
open. You gotta be cautious.
like somebody's might rob me.
I'm with Johnny. Like if I'm kissing in public, I'm keeping my eyes open just in case there's somebody hotter to look at. The person that I'm kissing. Like that's just.
That's why
just,
Murphy's the
good
shit,
science.
because he's smart.
He's smart. He's
The
smart.
brain.
Smart.
You think
now
things
Natalie
through.
Yeah.
broke up with someone
Yeah.
because they weren't a good kisser,
Yeah.
and there's all the whole lecture
Well,
of have you
'cause
given
his eyes open.
so there's two parts here. Number one, have you ever had to give instruction for kissing or sex? And number two, have you broken up with somebody because of they were a bad kisser or bad at sex?
Okay, I would answer your
Remember, the
question.
camera's over there.
Okay, for number one, yes, I have given instructions, which is why I've never broken
I've
up.
given instruction. Anyone else
Which is
given
why I've never
instruction?
broken up with
That's actually
somebody.
nice.
Because it's like,
Got it.
if I'm gonna break it down to you and get you to the point where, fuck yeah, I might as well take advantage of the fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? If I put in the work, you
Yeah.
might as well.
So what you're saying is you've developed this prospect. You're not going to let some other team swoop in and sign him to the
This
roster.
guy knows what's up. It's
There
a
you go.
baseball thing.
Sports analogies here.
I was so lost.
Leave it, you
We
know,
do it
because-
toast together.
We'll explain it.
alright.
See, I'm more of an emotional, like, I want the romance. I want the desire. It's not like, pull out dick, pistol whip me. It's, oh my god, I'm sorry, mom and dad.
I mean, we all,
you just
we
saw
all have
that.
that animalistic side.
Yeah,
I mean,
because when it comes down to it, that is the most animalistic side of us that we're still allowed to engage in.
yeah,
Everything else has a
Animalistic
taboo.
sex.
that's true.
Everything else has a taboo.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
can't express our violence. We're even constantly criticized on our word usage.
Right.
Things that were in common usage 20 years ago are now extremely frowned upon.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
And it is moving in the right direction, evolutionary wise, where it's more mental and cerebral.
Yeah.
But you can't deny the fact that the most basic thing of it is sex. It's animalistic,
Yeah.
and it's why we're
It's-
still
yeah.
here.
Here's
It's because
I
we're
think-
good at it.
I think what you're getting at is that like
We
in
outbred other
the-
species.
the
that were-
bedroom. The bedroom is the only place where it's okay to be whoever you are, no matter of how weird that gets.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other places where we've accepted a lot of things, but the bedroom is one place where it's like, yeah, if you find out what you like and it's
Yeah.
super weird, we're all kind of cool with that.
Oh shit! Like if you're
And
into
on that
fucking
screen-
cat screeches.
Yeah, cat.
Like-
On that screaming pussy moment, because I have 5 cats and that was Satin. Yeah, she's named after a stripper. We are now going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And we are back with the offensive line, and we are still drinking the moonshine cherries. Shall we take a toast, everybody?
Yes,
Sure.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Cheers! Cheers!
How many are we doing?
Cheers!
Are we
We're
doing
just gonna do one. We're just gonna do one
Just
now.
the top
I had
cherry.
trouble
Yeah.
last time.
Just take one cherry. Don't reenact the movie Kids and be extra greedy and take 2 cherries in one day.
Like some kind of an animal. I want to go back to being an animal.
Is it me or was Rosario Dawson in that movie?
Rosario Dawson isn't in the movie
Right,
Kids,
but she
as
went
long
on
with
another
Chloe
name,
Sevigny.
right?
No, I think she was Rosario Dawson.
Was she?
It was just one of those things that she pursued acting years later, and she became famous
Yeah.
for acting.
Right.
That she was actually cast in the movie Kids because they were doing a cattle call, and the director was like, "You stand out to me. You're pretty." And when you watch the movie Kids, even though she's 16 or 17, is one of those, you are a very pretty
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
And she's
And
got
sh-
good DSLs.
Yeah, she does.
She's
She's
sucking lips.
Yeah, I've never heard-
We're the only ones that
Yes.
does.
yes.
I was like, honestly, when you said that, I was like, how do you know what her carrier plan is?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I was called that in the 90s that I had DSLs. And
Yeah, I can see it. I can see that. Voluptuous.
oh, Frank can see his penis in my mouth. Okay.
Any penis in your mouth is what I meant by that.
A
Yeah,
smorgasbord,
it's super
if you
easy
will.
to imagine.
Have you ever received a blowjob from a woman?
Have I ever received a blowjob
Yeah.
from a woman? Actually, no.
Well, because I
No.
want to know, like, I hang out with you, but I hang out with a lot of gay men, and the perception is that men are better at sucking dicks than women are.
I believe that is
'Cause
true
they have one, so they're
because
better at it.
men know what they want, and so they know how to please it.
Women are better
And-
at eating pussy than men are.
True?
I don't question that. I don't question
I mean,
that.
not me.
Oh, sorry,
but-
Johnny.
I'm allergic. I can't go near this stuff, okay?
Hold on,
We
hold
show
on a
in
second,
porn
hold
and
on
I
a
call
second.
it origami. But that is a problem that runs, I think.
What?
For that as an album.
Oh,
Oh.
you would buy that Thomas
Yeah, I
Styles
would
comedy
be like,
album.
holy shit, that's an amazing.
I thought both Natalie and I apparently
We thought
thought
you
that
were
you
I
had
noticed.
towards
I
a very
noticed
deep
that.
taking.
I noticed
That we
that.
thought
Thomas
you
Bobbitt.
wanted
And I was like,
Prepare to
your
take it
comedy
deep.
album.
let me elaborate further. As an album.
But there's always the phrase of the lady on the streets, but the freak in the bed. Now, as a
I think it's freaking the sheet.
again, it's like the hoes against the bros. I've learned that, you know, if you present certain skills really early on, the guy begins to question whether or not you proper or you're virtuous. And I was always the prude of my group, which gives me on, I guess, the same caliber of the normal heterosexual female. But how do you guys react if a girl knows what to do? Or, I mean, there's always the girls don't kiss on the first date. Now it's become you don't put out on the first date.
Actually,
what
that's,
are the rules?
That's kind of like my comfort zone because of the fact.
You put out on the first date?
No, it's because
some people feel like
No.
putting out on the first date is an audition.
It's because of the fact that it's like, you know, because I am a self-hating comedian. It's like, oh wow, this girl just showed me something I haven't learned before. But then again, what does it say about her?
Well, it shouldn't
No,
say anything
thank
bad
you.
about her. No, it shouldn't. I feel
Thank
like
you, Frank.
we have this weird dynamic in the world where, I mean, I
Sexual
have.
double standard.
Yeah, totally. Like I've had
Guys who sleep around are studs, women who sleep around are
Yeah.
sluts, and they're slut
No,
shamed.
See, that's
the
the
worst.
thing. I
It's the
don't
worst
sleep
thing.
around.
Right, but if you
Which is why that you know, in that situation, it's like, holy shit, you know. Like, I've never even fucking heard about. Yeah,
most guys, if you think of a guy who doesn't sleep around, society thinks of a guy who just like can't get laid, I guess. So like that would be like me, like, be like, but a woman who sleeps around, then that's a negative connotation to it, and it's just like, oh, she seemed cool, but then she totally wanted to suck my dick on the first date, and then we think, okay, she was fun, but that's a slut. I don't want to take this person seriously as a person, and I think that's,
Well,
I think
it's
that's
true,
awful.
but it's kind of true. I mean, honestly, when you think about it, it's kind of true. If you're like, hey, listen, if I go out on a date with somebody and this person just goes all out on the first date,
yeah.
tell me that's not like all you have to do.
That
All
is
you have
a
is the,
foreshadowing.
all you
That
have is
a-
the information. Like
Yeah.
you're basically put in a point where you have to judge this person, not you know. And
Well, that's-
because
It's like right now that
programming.
it's absolutely not true.
not
programming.
judge
I'm
a
with
person, but
Natalie.
like get a gauge from that person. Be like, do I like this person? That's what I mean. Not like
Right.
pass judgment on somebody,
Well,
but
I
it's
think
like,
we subconsciously
is
do it
this
even
somebody?
sometimes,
Is this
yeah.
somebody that I can see? And all you have is the information available to you. Do you know what I'm
Which
saying?
is what? What? A naked person in front of me. Which is
I
like,
think you
what?
either like a person and you want to pursue it or you don't. Because I always fuck on the first date, and I have been married and I've dated men for years, and it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
either
see,
like you or they don't.
I think like a bisexual scene was taking place on the porn, and I got a little bit nervous, like if there was gonna be full on like male penis and male ass sex, and it's like I'm sitting amongst straight
totally
people, and I
missed
saw
I
they
forgot
wanna
porn
play
was
this.
happening for
No wonder,
But,
no wonder Murphy paid no attention for that brief 5-minute segment.
I find, and this is why I throw myself in one of them hoes, is that sometimes when I go out, I'm one of the gays that I go out to the bar, and I go out because I want to hear the music, I want to dance, I want to drink, I want to socialize. And whether or not you qualify to what my standards are, we can go home. But very, very few men qualify for my standards. I mean, I've had a guy ask me to follow him to the bathroom and thought that watching him urinate was enough to make me go, oh baby, I must have it.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
men
Oh,
who
yeah.
pull out their penises and I go, I must possess it. And I find that like as I've gotten older, it's like I didn't take you home not because the sex wasn't offered, but because I had no interest. Now, is this strictly a gay experience? Because I think
straight
Nally
people
as
can
a
say no,
woman
too.
has had men throwing themselves
I think
at
that's
them, and
what
I don't
I
know
was
if you
just
as
talking about.
I mean, I hope you guys don't like whip out your dicks and hope to like seduce a woman. Like in the gay world, that happens. That's like considered a seduction.
I only recently learned that dick pics are preferred to be erect, and I didn't know that. So that
You were sending flaccid
I was
dick
sending
pics?
Why did you send them to me, Frank?
Well, I
I feel angry. If you guys have
Talk
dick
about-
pics, why don't I have them?
I'll show you some in my phone. You've seen mine.
See, girls and the gays, we gossip. We look at that stuff.
See,
All right, Murphy. I guarantee you were in a relationship before this became fashion. Have you ever sent a dick pic to anyone?
I have no idea what dick pic culture is all about. It's just like never in my
It's like pop
life,
culture.
never in my life have I been
Some
sitting
of
by
the easy
myself and
culture
thought,
It's
you know
okay.
what? This woman would like to see my penis. That's never been a thought that I had. The only thoughts I've ever had are been like, can
I
I
better
think of
make
something
her
clever
like me.
enough to say where she might allow me to show her my penis in the future? It's never been like a, hey, look at this. It's like, please let me show you this later if I earn it. From you. You know? Like, I don't.
It's
Like,
weird if you have a girlfriend and you send a dick pic, it's like, okay, cool. Hey, can you pick up some eggs on the way home?
So have you guys sent dick pics?
I have never once in my entire life sent.
Right.
a
I
dick
have,
pic.
yeah.
You have?
I have never once, but ever since.
And you've
like,
sent booby pics
I've
of
received literally thousands.
thousands of dick
well,
pics.
that
Thousands
doesn't
of dicks.
surprise
See,
me at all. It's
I need to make a confession. I need to make a confession. I do send out dick pics, but they're not my penis. I found one that I thought was comparable, and I used a dick body double.
You're
From the internet?
But you thought.
Yes! I found one on the internet. I was
That's
like, this
cheating!
looks close.
Thomas
I'll
Bottoms is a
send
cheater.
it out.
No,
I
no, 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 no.
I lie
That
about
defeats
that.
the purpose.
We need
of
to dive into this because why did you pick one that you thought was comparable? What do you, if you're gonna send a
Like
fake
you-
picture, like, this one looks super close to what mine really looks
I
like.
couldn't explain because it ties back to Johnny and his pursuit of comedy. Is that my pursuit of a comedy career is higher than ever my pursuit of penis or a man, and thus I do not want the I was young and needed the money to ever show up. It's so if they're like you sent out this dick pic, I'm like, yeah, I sent that out. That ain't my dick. That's someone else's dick.
Smart
See,
man.
he fucking
Yeah.
actually.
I will become famous
Point out
one
why I
day,
do that.
and no one got nudie pics on me. There ain't no
very smart.
shit out
But
there.
here's that's
I make sure I know where
But
this
you know what?
camera be.
All
I think that is a good point. Is like the whole dick pic, boob pic, or whatever coming out there and the shaming. I think recently with the Jennifer Lawrence scandal, like I like Jennifer Lawrence. I like looking at naked celebrities. I did look at her Vanity Fair snake pic, but I have not searched out her nudie pic because her phone was hacked. She was sending a tit pic to her boyfriend, and it's one of those things like, you know what, she didn't want this scene. And I chose, I don't want to see her boobies unless she wants to show them in a movie.
You chose to see her as
And-
a human being.
Now, did you guys choose to look up her boobs,
No.
and did you judge her, or
It was shown to me, and I enjoyed it.
it was
very
shown
much,
to you?
yeah.
I'm certain she has a nice rack. She's
Yeah,
a very
well, boobs
beautiful
are
woman,
over-sexualized
and she
in the
can
first place.
act.
They're just,
So-
I mean, it's
I would
boobs.
love to, but I haven't. You know
But
why?
I-
Because of the exact same reasons you pointed out just now. Because you know what? It
And
is-
Hunger Games 3, and she's showing the goods and shaking them like a teen sex
yes,
comedy.
I'm there with
I'm
you.
there, but it's
That
like,
is
you
not-
sent this
that
to your
is not
boyfriend.
how
That is an
President
invasion
Coin
of
went
privacy.
with their media blitz.
That
Like,
is an
that's
invasion
not even
of
in the
privacy.
books. Like, I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
read the book.
If
Like,
you look
Coin
at
wants
those,
her to be
it's
a war
just
hero in front of all the
doing it by
cameras,
yourself, I
and
think.
you know, you already. Whatever.
I had no idea. I have to admit, I had no idea who this woman was until this leak happened. And I'm among. I swear to God, I had no idea. I really did. And I was like, oh, this is a celebrity. And to me, it's like, okay, you could just go on the internet and type in like girls' boobs, and probably find some comparable
Lots of
pictures
boobs.
to
Yeah.
that.
So
So
here's the thing:
Are you telling me
is-
you're not a huge teenage girl novelist? That's surprising.
you don't read Twilight and all the. But here's the thing: is like you. Yeah, the leaked pictures are an invasion of people's privacy, and I'm entirely against that. But the weirdest thing about where we live in the world right now is you can go online, before that whole leak, you could go online and type in Jennifer Lawrence nude pics, and you would get nude pictures of her, but it would be her head crudely photoshopped onto someone else's naked body.
Yes.
And if that's not good enough for you, like, why do you have to invade people's privacy? We have Photoshop and we have plenty of images to work with. Like, let's just pretend and not ruin people's personal lives.
So, Murphy, you recognize it's the fantasy of Jennifer Lawrence that was going there. It wasn't the reality of her boobs and her...
No, it's actually the reality of her boobs. She's got real tits.
What was so popular is the reality of invading her privacy. That's what people want, is to get whatever they want, regardless of the...
You see, again, it goes to that issue where it's like, alright, you know, that is okay only to the point where permission is allowed. Because it's like if she's like, no, I'm not, even though they're out there, I'm not going to look at them. Because you know what? It feels the same to me. It's like, it feels like a stolen glance, something that you're not supposed to have.
And there's hundreds of millions of people who
think
the exact opposite of you.
A judge recently passed a law that says it's not illegal to take pictures up a girl's skirt. I think that's fucking abhorrible. I think that's awful.
It turns me on more to know, like, that was an accident. Jennifer Lawrence, the photos were not meant to be seen by us, and she didn't want them to be. For some of us, I get my rocks off to see a woman who purposefully showed her body for money, because it's just like, that's part of the culture too.
Well, see, me, like I told you, I like to fucking upsell. Do you know what I mean? And I feel that if I charm this beautiful woman, and I'm lucky enough for her to feel comfortable enough to show me all of her lovely parts, then I fucking earned it. I don't want to steal it.
See, but that brings up an interesting question, is that women are angry sometimes. Natalie, you don't have to represent all women, but
I'm not angry.
I've dealt with feminists that, number one, they complain that they're objectified, but then sexy Halloween costumes crazy sell. That I think it's one of those bizarre. So as straight men, like, women dress sexy, but if you notice they dress sexy, they're being objectified and it's a bad thing.
Right.
Like, how do you deal with this? How do you... And Natalie, this is a longer conversation than a minute, my director.
We're getting a minute and you're asking semester-long questions.
So at this point, we're going to do a toast,
thesis to be
and then we're going to come back to this.
I want 5,000 pages on that
and we're going to take a break. Cheers.
Salud. Salud.
And we are back in the offensive line. And before the break, I proposed a very serious question. Is that women... I feel bad as a gay man for straight guys, because if a woman wears a sexy costume and you pay attention to her, that means you're objectifying her. However, she's wearing a sexy costume. Yeah. It's one of those things... Now, mind you, she's wearing a sexy costume doesn't mean like you get to rape her and take what you want.
Right, right.
But she is wearing an outfit for noticing. What is there a fine line? Is there a not fine line? I mean, Natalie, you've got the girls on display, and you're wearing the "I don't need to know your name."
Yes.
Now, do you follow? Like I follow.
I have no problem with men paying attention to me.
So now that you know my name, am I out of the running?
See, I think Natalie actually hit the this very issue just perfectly. Well, what she
just
said,
put it all out there.
No, she said, what was it that she said, Natalie, about it depends on who it is?
Oh, well, yeah, I was kidding, but yes.
But,
no, I honestly think it's
you don't want
true.
Ugly men paying attention to you. Like, if I get dressed up all slutty and I look hot, I don't want some ugly dude hitting on me. That's who I'm going to be mean to. Now, when a hot dude, when Tom Brady comes up and does a titty fuck, then I have no problem. Like, you know,
But
hot people
then-
can't sexually harass their coworkers. It's just called flirting. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
totally-
Absolutely true, man. It's,
So Thomas, no, if any of you have ever been rejected, it's because the woman.
yeah,
didn't
I'm just
think
like
you were cute.
you're not into me. You don't
Not
like
because-
me physically. That's why you're offended.
But I do have
But-
to say that's framing it like that a woman dresses up sexy and then doesn't like it when men ogle her is still framing it in the whole double standard of sex that a woman can't wear whatever she wants and leave her home without being ogled or attacked or something like that. So framing it like that, I think, it is part of the problem.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's
No,
weird.
but I feel you. I feel you.
I'm not
and-
saying it's not a legitimate
But-
thing that doesn't happen. I think it does, and I think
Now-
Thomas's angle is, oh, doesn't that give men mixed signals? It shouldn't if they're not sacks of shit.
Now, Natalie,
They
Like,
are
no,
sex
no,
shit.
it's like when
I
somebody
need to
says,
point out
no.
something. I need to point out something. Is that if you dress up attractive and you attract attention, and I'm the same way that, you know, I do dress. When I try to dress attractive, is that I do show off what I have working for me, which is predominantly like full lips, gap teeth, and a big ass. Okay, that's what I have. And so, like when a
He
man
knows his
comes up and
strengths.
just
Yeah.
slaps the ass, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
But
yeah.
and then there's the whole you mentioned like if he's ugly. I've noticed with a lot of pretty girls, because I hang out with pretty girls,
Right.
is that you do have the pretty girl look of, well, thank you for the compliment, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Which ties into the whole Mae West attitude of, again, it's better to be looked over than overlooked.
I like that. Yeah, I do like that.
But I
do
feel
like
that a
Mae West.
lot of pretty girls feel that if they are looked at or admired, it's like it's an attack and it's an insult. Where all the man has done is complimented, like, you look really pretty tonight.
well,
You
see,
look
I-
good
The thing
tonight."
is that a lot of men don't have the skill to compliment a woman. You need to compliment a woman in a way that she will feel complimented. You can't just say whatever. You can't say what you like. You need to say what you like
Okay.
about how a woman looks in a way that she will hear. Oh, I
What
feel
is the
good about
difference?
myself.
What is
Well,
the,
see, that's-
now, now,
the
when you
difference is
look at a
saying-
pretty woman, it's like, nice boobies.
The difference is saying like, "Hey, nice tits," versus, "Oh my God, you look so great in that top."
Well, see, I have to.
artful
You know what? That's
to
a
it,
wonderful
yeah.
point that you bring up because I've actually had this debate about catcalling women. Because I have never been introduced with somebody that I ended up in a relationship with. Everybody that I ended up in a relationship with, I approached. So to me, it's very important to distinguish the difference
The
between
approach is
catcalling.
important to you.
You like catcalling because it's like, all right, women hate catcalling, but am I allowed to say hello?
Yes.
Because I've
I
read.
think-
I'm gonna
no, I've
venture
read.
a yes on that one.
Because I think
I love
But how
it's
often have you
not-
said hello to someone you're not sexually attracted to? It's just like a woman. I'd be like, well, as men,
I
we tend.
never-
Well, I
we
said
tend
hi
to
to you
be-
when you walked in, guys. So I'm
I know
pretty
you
friendly.
wanted.
But see, I've read some feminist stuff, like the woman who was sexually harassed as she walked around New York City for 15 hours.
I saw-
And a lot of it was like, hey, you look really good. Hey, you're beautiful. I mean, on some levels, like, do you need to be called out on that? But on
Yeah.
the flip side is, and I always tell people, until I grew facial hair, I looked like a fucking woman until I was 20, 21. And I got catcalled. And it falls into it's a flattery. And I said this even in college with gay men hitting on me. It's like, thank you for finding me attractive. I don't owe anything to your penis.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel as men that when you catcall, you earn something? And as a woman being catcalled, do you feel you have to give? Or how do you feel about being catcalled? And Natalie, let's be a little bit honest here.
Yeah.
We are reaching an age where the calling ain't happen as much as it used to when we
What
were
are you
younger.
talking about,
And
Thomas?
do we miss it?
She's gorgeous. I brought this up because I'm sure she deals with
She's
it on a
drop
daily
dead gorgeous,
basis.
but she's
Oh,
not
thank you,
a
thank you.
virginal 15-year-old.
But she
okay?
has,
No,
She's-
no, no.
but she's in a relationship
But there
now,
are
so
plenty
she
of
has to
verbs.
deal with it in a different
For 2
manner.
months.
How do you feel about being catcalled? Was it an insult, or was it just, oh, thank you for feeling I'm beautiful, but I don't owe you nothing?
It's interesting because I will give that a woman who dresses sexy and then thinks that that is not going to draw attention woman is naive. Now, does she deserve to have attention, like unwanted attention? No, but to think that that's not going to happen. So I know if I wear a shirt like this that hugs my tits and says, I don't need to know your name. But I am strong enough to understand that, deflect things that I don't want to have happen, but not all women are. But again, there's such a long history of women as second-class citizens and property. And I mean, there's so much history there, and domestic violence and rape. I mean, come on, like all of that is with a woman. It's just like being a minority. Like all of that is with a woman all the time, every single day. And so it's so close to the surface. It's so easy when you say, yo, nice tits, for me to be like, you're like,
right.
You know?
Well, I
there's
think
just too much there. But I will submit that if you are going to dress sexy, you have got to understand that you are going to draw attention, and what you do with that is, you know.
Well, see, and part of my confusion is because of the fact that, you know what, I did grow up in a house full of women.
Mm-hmm.
I did, and so it's
I call
like,
you out.
there are certain things that I feel are niceties that are part of culture and interaction when you live in a society. But I feel like recently I've been kind of misconstrued and made to be a sexist. Is it sexist for me to hold a door open for a woman and be like, after you?
It's a very
that falls into an issue.
Is it sexist for me to give up my seat to a woman?
It's
I think so.
The term is benevolent sexism, and you know, if you want, if I don't know if this YouTube episode is going that way, but if you want to talk benevolent sexism,
that's the name of my album.
That's benevolent sexism. That's a great album.
It is an issue because I've walked a woman home from the train because she felt uncomfortable about a straight guy who was drunk and hollering at her.
Yeah.
But me as a gay man, I walk her home because I'm bigger, I'm stronger. I don't want to bang you. I don't want to see what you have to
well, that's
offer.
why she's more comfortable
But
with that.
you are a human being, and I'm going to make sure nothing bad happens to you.
But what Johnny's talking about is the holding the door thing of like, yes, it's a polite thing to do for any other human being. It's a polite thing to do to hold the door. If you hold the door, but when a man holds a door for a woman, it has a backhanded, implicit value to it that she couldn't open the door for herself. And it's like, and that's what's complicated about society.
I dated girls in high school.
No, and to me, it's
door.
not a sexist thing. It's a sexual thing. It's like, you know,
I want to do something nice.
When she's blowing me, she's gonna touch my penis with that hand, so I want it clean.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Sorry. Like
so I like a door held open for me, and I will hold open doors for women. Natalie, you are a real woman. Do you like doors held open for you? I mean, do you feel like as a woman you need to prove yourself? And that actually ties into a deeper issue as a man, that a lot of women nowadays is like, you know, I got my own job, I got my own house, I got my own car. Yeah. I don't need you. Do you as a man feel you need to be needed? Do you like to take care of women?
Not
as a woman, do you like to be taken care of?
Not as a man, but as a human.
You like to help another human.
No, I need to be needed more than anything in the world. Like that's the thing that gets me out of the bed in the morning, is like, yeah, if nobody else needs me, then it's just like, well, I don't value my own life enough. I need someone to be like, yeah, you make my life better. I'm like, oh, I make your life better? Well, that's enough to get out of there. Like,
it's odd to be that way because, like, yeah, there is this weird dynamic where you have to feel like you have to present some amount of value to a woman as a man to feel like you're validated. And sometimes you just want to be an animal. Like, I'll be honest, like right now I can't wait to get home and rip my girlfriend's panties off. Because mostly they're not my size, and I should not have worn them out. But that's
I put too much pressure on them.
Well, it happens both ways, man. Yeah.
I do feel in society, though, if a woman has made her mark and made herself very dominant and strong, that a lot of men are threatened by that. I mean, we look at... I'm big on music. And Madonna and Diana Ross are still single, divorced twice, because have they found a man who's been up to their level?
Well, I don't know if Natalie can touch on this, but like for most single men, there's nothing less attractive than a woman who can make a joke.
Yes.
Is-
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up earlier because we
Really?
were talking about.
Oh yeah, men hate women that are funny.
Do
like
we?
it's just it's the
No,
most,
maybe you guys don't as
not us,
comedians.
'cause
but
we
we're
are
not,
comfortable
we're not all
in
trying
how
to bang
frickin'
each
funny.
other.
Yeah, I'm
but like,
gay. I don't qualify. I worship Natalie. I just
oh,
girl bow
but I
down.
mean, it is something that I won't necessarily bring up in like a dating situation. I'll tell them all the other things I do in my day job and millions of things, and then like a month in or something, I'll be like, oh, I can't go out tonight because I gotta go do something. They're like, what? I'm like,
3 more months,
see-
I'll tell you.
nothing you need to know about. I'm a comedian.
Because
But-
as a female
But you
stand
have
comedian,
felt
you're
that.
funnier than them, and you can do punchlines, but yet you're watering down your
the thing,
personality
we-
and not telling them.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I tell them we've got to get
think
to a
so.
place where everyone's. No, I'm
A
in
little
your.
bit honest.
I'm in your
After
face
the
right
Like,
away.
I feel like it's just that Natalie's smart enough to know that there's a certain thing about herself that could intimidate a man, and she knows that we're all weak, scared little boys, and she's smart enough not to be like, hey, I'm a comedian.
I'm not hiding
first-
myself. I'm being
Yeah,
polite
you're
to not hurt
protecting
your
our
precious ego.
fragile
Well,
ego.
see, I have to be.
So
perfectly
are you
honest,
guys
I'm the-
insecure boys?
I am on the opposite
Oh
end
my
of that
God, I'm
exact
insecure.
same spectrum because I don't start paying attention until a girl makes me laugh, and it's because
Opposite end of the spectrum.
it's because of the fact that, and I told you guys earlier, I have yet to meet a comedian that isn't of above average intelligence. It's
See-
an
Well,
indicator to
In order
me
to be
that-
attracted to a woman because you think, oh, she's not funny, therefore she must be less enlightened.
No.
than I am.
I'm just saying it's like my biggest goal is like to be with somebody who can challenge me mentally.
Yeah.
So intelligence is my most
And that's a
attractive feature,
weird place to be as a guy.
and it really is. And the thing is like when I find
Might as well
somebody
that
who's
place is-
able to make me laugh, I know like it's not an. It's a precursor. It's a signal point that's like, okay, she definitely has that sort of outwardly view
Right,
on things
right.
that isn't necessarily normal and just documentary, but she has something to add to
She's deep enough to make me laugh, which means she's deep enough to make me come.
it. Hey,
See,
ding,
Deep
ding,
into
ding.
what?
see, and this is why I feel like I'm more on the like hoe woman scale. Is that I feel like if you got all the honey, the bears want you, and if you don't hold my interest in the dating world, I'm going to dismiss you. And there are many stories in my life where, like, okay, I met a guy, we talked a little bit. Oh, it's New Year's Eve, I guess it's time for a kiss. And then, like, an hour later, I'm leaving without telling him goodbye because you didn't capture my interest. And I feel in a lot of the straight world, it is a lot of straight men throwing themselves at straight women and hope to catch their interest. Not to single you out now,
Not
Liz.
to
No.
do
No,
our
but see,
entire
that's the beauty.
handbook.
That's the exact difference between being attracted to somebody and being infatuated with somebody. Because I can be physically infatuated with somebody's physical form.
I've learned that the hard way.
Without
I know.
without saying, like, this could be the dumbest woman in the world, but I'm infatuated with her figure, and I know that that's different from me being actually attracted to someone. I'm a little bit older.
So has anyone here gone out for one night stands knowing it was going to be a one night stand? Raise some hands.
That's only though on one night stands that I do because of the fact that I feel like I owe it to the
Now, have
person
you ever
that's
had a
doing
one
it
night
with
stand
me.
with somebody in hopes that they would want a little bit more?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I
Never.
totally have.
Like they thought, like, oh, this is going to lead nowhere. Now, you've never had a one night stand.
Well, I've had one night stand, and it was the worst experience of my life. Absolutely
Cheers.
the worst. Like I can't. I don't know. I don't know if this makes me different than every other man alive, but one night stands are the worst. Like
I
it's
don't
just
like them.
For me,
I don't
I
like
like
them.
I like the person I'm engaging with to enjoy what they're doing, and in order for that to happen, we need to have talked for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and if, like, and the one night stand I did have was an absolutely terrible encounter with two parties that were both incredibly drunk and making terrible decisions for their lives and regretted them incredibly afterwards. And it was just like, I don't think that this is the formula that works for me being happy. I don't, and I graduated from that, and I have other relationships, and it's like I wish I could be the guy that has one night stands. I wish I could be that guy.
What's the least amount of time you've each known someone before you had sex with them? The least amount of time.
20 minutes.
Okay.
Couple hours.
Okay.
Which was the one night stand.
Okay.
Yeah, put in a couple hours.
I would say within an hour or so. I had
And
one night
the
stand.
reason why I say
We did
20
the nail
minutes, and the
answer.
reason
We did
why I
the
say
nail
20
answer.
90
minutes,
minutes. 90
hold on.
minutes.
And the reason why I
Minutes.
say
I like
20
that you
minutes
had minutes.
is because of what we were talking about earlier, Murphy. You were talking about those instances where you meet somebody and you click, and you're like, we both somehow deep down inside know that we both want the same thing, and that same thing is this.
That's where I'm
it's
at.
not
with,
anything about.
That's where I'm
what
at with
comes after.
sexuality.
See,
is
I've
that
had
it's a
one night
more-
stands or booty calls, and like this is what we want, and I've learned that
Mutual.
I want the romance. I want the dating. I want to get to know you. I need the conversation.
Wait, in order-
And so by the time we get to that, oh, there's penis. It's like, yay, penis, and there's been so much more.
Here's what I want.
I am
I
the
think I
opposite
have
of the lesbian. Like, a lesbian on the second date brings a U-Haul. I met a lesbian that on the second date she brought another girl and said, hey, you want to do a three-way? Like, I am the opposite of that woman. It's like, I want the cuddling. I want the connection.
Oh, the
I want
cuddling's
to
the
actually
best.
know you and like you as a person.
But
You guys
But
are
yet I feel that's how I have sex like a woman versus a man.
But-
And yet I pick men who do not feel a hole is a hole.
hold on.
What the hell is this show about?
You put this panel
Can I
together.
ask you this question, though, Thomas?
Jesus.
Have you had an instance where you knew from the start, and that person knew from the start, what we're gonna do is awesome, and it's just gonna be physical?
No, I haven't.
No?
Or if I have and it was going to be pure physical,
Wait.
it did not come out the way I wanted to. It was horrible and bad. I've got so many bad one night stands.
I didn't ask about the
stories.
result. What I was
Oh,
asking
the
about the
result.
intentions. Have
You
you,
know
ever
what I
had the
want. I
intention
know what
of,
you want.
I am going to fuck you tonight,
I want to
and
know.
I will
yeah.
not speak to you on Thursday.
I always intend to
No, I
have good
believe
sex,
I do well
and it
enough.
rarely
They will
happens.
call
Right?
back, and they always do.
This is where you separate it all, because this is like, I think this is where people really become like this or that. Like, if you're gonna fuck somebody like through a glory hole, would you rather know what they look like or what music, books, movies, and like things they admire culturally?
I think as women, you gotta own your sexuality, and I do, but it's not easy. Is the answer to that?
Now, when it comes to owning your sexuality, is choosing to be a prude, choosing to be you are not worthy of entering my golden chasm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that appropriate? Because sometimes people feel like owning
You're
your
asking the wrong
sexuality
person.
is like good giving and game, and open mouth is an open mind. But sometimes I think owning your sexuality is like, you know what, you haven't brought anything to hold my interest, and you need to go back with the cattle.
It's whatever you're comfortable with. Like, owning it means it's whatever you are comfortable with. So you can own it as a prude. I can own it as a slut. Whatever
we
you are
tried.
comfortable with.
Too
Like, you know, it is an
Yeah.
honor.
If I want to have a million dicks, I want to have a million
I
dicks all
still
over
want
me,
to
then I'm gonna
touch
do
you.
it.
You don't
Well,
know.
we don't have enough time now, really, I don't think, but I wanted to touch on Frank being polyamorous and that kind of movement
Oh,
and
well,
what that
that's
means.
gonna
And
be the
No, you know what we should do?
Should
You know
we
what we should
continue?
do? Oh, can
Next
we
week
please-
on the
Because I-
offensive
Next week
line.
on the
Because
offensive
I
line,
think
we
that's
will
just
talk
all-
what are relationships.
polyamory.
We have been Johnny Cuevas,
Ow.
Natalie Nimarella,
Yeah.
Frank Roscoe,
Woo.
Murphy Rowe,
You
Fuzzy,
betcha.
Fuzzy, Fuzzy. You'll get yours. Fuzzy, Fuzzy, Fuzzy. And I'm Thomas Bottoms, and this has been the offensive line. Have a good night.